everyone is speaking out about this as we now inch closer and closer to the beginning of a huge series. Of course, the ALDS. We have some brand new updates that have dropped specifically surrounding one key player. We're going to break down exactly what those updates are and discuss what it means going forward. But not only that, folks, we have some other interesting reports from Ben Nicholson-Smith and even some comments from Ross Atkins revealing some new details on something that you're going to want to stay tuned till the end for as well. At the very end of the video, a cool statistic that we have never seen before. A ton to go over on this episode, ladies and gentlemen. But before we get into it all, you guys have been an absolute beast with the support. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. About 70% of you who are watching right now aren't subscribed. We are now just 2 days away from the beginning of what's going to be an absolutely insane bloodbath of a series against either the Red Sox or the Yankees. Folks, let's dive right into it. Now, I had a video yesterday or the day before, I think it was yesterday, covering, of course, the big decision the Jays have to make specifically surrounding some of their pitchers and their hitting staff. But today, we have some new updates, both a little tidbit on Bo Bichette, but also on the pitching staff, but not what I covered yesterday, of course, but some new information that has come out surrounding the starting pitching staff. And everyone is starting to speak out about who the game 1, 2, and 3 starters are going to be. And we have some new insight on that. So I want to start with this and kind of just give you guys some context here. Let's look at the way the Jays team is currently constructed. Now, we know I'm not going to be diving into the position players today. If you want to see a full video on that, I had one there yesterday. Now, looking at the starting pitching, Kevin Gausman, Shane Bieber, Max Scherzer, Trey Savage. Those are most likely, and of course, throwing Chris Bassett. I saw a lot of comments yesterday, disputing between you guys, like between each other, and also just what I said about who the starter should be. It is going to be very interesting. Now, I'm going to bring this back up. Now, this is Ben Nicholson-Smith's article where you look at the locks for the pitching staff. Of course, we're not going to discuss today the bullpen or anything like that. José Berríos is going to be done. Who is, and everyone's speaking out about who the starting pitcher game 1, 2, 3, and potentially 4 is going to be for the Blue Jays because of how everything is shaping up. And I'm very, very intrigued to see what you guys think about it. And let's look at this brand new article that dropped late last night from Ben Nicholson-Smith. So according to his sources, the Jays are still making rotation plans. As expected, the Blue Jays declined to share the rotation plans just yet. Of course, the Jays had an inter-squad game yesterday, which we'll dive into as well. But he said that'll change within a couple days. But for now, they have a few plans in place for a variety of different reasons. Now, Chris Bassett is slated to pitch in Tuesday's or Thursday's simulated games of today's, and at which point the Blue Jays should have a better sense of whether he's ready to return from the injured list. And as you know, Berríos is out. In years past, the Jays have used piggyback starters in common, in controversial scenarios. I want to ask about your guys' thoughts on this. Look at the last sentence there in that report. Ask whether the current lean is toward traditional starters or more of a mixed approach. Atkins said it's all under discussion. So Ben Nicholson-Smith dropped this article late last night because he got to talk to John Schneider and Ross Atkins during the inter-squad game where, Vladdy hit a couple doubles, Schneider hit a home run. There was some fun stuff there. Cato even was getting out there, one of the coaches. I'll dive into that later. But so for the Jays, the new report is essentially that, their rotation plans are going to be fluid. Now, where do you guys currently stand about the rotation? For me, I think I'm kind of the mindset of game 1, Gausman, game 2, if healthy, maybe even Bassett to give him a shot at home, game 3, Bieber, game 4, Savage / bullpen. I think that's where I'm currently standing. Now, there could be an argument for, Gausman, Bieber, Savage, Bassett in game 4 on the road because, of course, it is a best of 5, so you could end this series then without having to use Bassett. But we know, report came out that, Trey Savage, and the report came out yesterday, or I had a video on it yesterday, a report came out a couple of days ago, that Trey Savage is going to be factoring into the rotation somehow, or at least maybe not the rotation, but the bullpen or the starting pitching staff somehow. And Ross Atkins has come out and said that, again, they're still working through it. We're open to everything on the table, and we'll want to work through that with our players before we make those decisions. And of course, like I covered recently, a Savage on the roster, I would expect him to be a part of us preventing runs. He's definitely part of the puzzle. I have no problem with him starting and no problem with him coming out of the bullpen. And this is where, again, I want to get your guys' thoughts on it because everyone's speaking out about it. Some people want it to be, Gausman, Bieber, Savage. Some people are more of, okay, if Bassett's ready to play, even though he hasn't pitched in a month almost, throw him back out there against at a home, at their home ballpark where he's much better historically this season. Like, where do you guys currently stand on it? Of course, historically in general here, because at the end of the day, folks, Savage is has better stuff than a guy like Chris Bassett. Now, we know Bieber and Gausman are going to be pitching for sure. I'm like, if I have to put my, money on it, probably go Gausman, Bieber, Savage, and Savage starts, and you piggyback Eric Lauer off of him. Because again, according to Ben Nicholson-Smith here, as we know, you look at starting pitch staff, there's 4, but according to BNS, he is a lock, most likely, which makes things very, very interesting. Eric Lauer, that is, gets there at the end. Now, we saw a very big amount of success in their most recent bullpen game there, feels like ages ago, a week ago, whenever it was. And that was a pretty crucial game. Where do you guys stand on it? Because at the end of the day, the new reports are dropping. They haven't made their decision yet, but they're open to everything. We know that Trey Savage is going to be available. Let me know down below what your thoughts are. Because again, an article dropped from Ken Rosenthal saying, would they entrust a start to Chris Bassett, who hasn't pitched since September 18th? Almost a month was a bit of a stretch. I said that earlier, but September 18th. Max Scherzer, would you guys factor in Max Scherzer? I haven't even mentioned him in this video because of how bad he's been. But we know there's been multiple reports from Ben Nicholson, Smith, and Shai Davidi, and others, Keegan Matheson as well, saying, I believe it was Keegan Matheson, who factored in and said, or gave his opinion rather, and said, okay, you got Max Scherzer to pitch in October. He's won a World Series. This is why you got him. Are you going to just not use him? My answer would be yes, because of how bad he has actually been during the second half of this regular season. I'm curious to see what you guys' thoughts are. So what I'll get you guys to do in the comment section down below, leave your starting rotation for each game. Game 1, 2, 3, 4. You can go 5 hypothetically, but I think 4 makes the most sense. Again, mine is going to be Gausman and then probably Bassett, Bieber, to Savage right now. Things can change a little bit. I'm not entirely sold on Bassett pitching game 2 when he hasn't pitched since the 18th. But if you're going to get him in, you have to assume you're going to throw him against them at home. But a lot of it depends on what happens in game 1, maybe. If you're going up against the Red Sox, who lost yesterday's game, that'll all be decided today. And you're going up against Crochet. If you lose game 1, maybe you throw Bieber out there for game 2 to try to secure a win. So that way you're even up the series heading into Boston, right, in that scenario. Or if it's the Yankees, Max Fried probably won't be able to go game 1. So do they go, I don't know, someone else? I'm not going to go Cam Schlittler because he's pitching today. A ton of variables, a ton of questions. What we do know is everyone's speaking out about it, and they have a very big decision to make. Now, a few other things to go over before we wrap up. Feel free to pause and read some of the rules and context if you're curious about how the actual roster breaks down. I'm not going to go over that again. Covered it in yesterday's video. But what I do want to go over is what happened in yesterday's game on the out-of-town scoreboard. So some great ball the last 2 nights in the Bronx. Got to think the Jays aren't devastated. This one's going to game 3. And Vlad spoke out on the Sox-Yankees series today. Was watching the game yesterday, yes, just to see who we're going to face. We know those teams. We've been playing them since spring training. Whatever comes, we just want to compete. We want to try to win it all. And in case you missed it, of course, the Yankees came back in a very close game and beat the Red Sox yesterday, which means today we get to see not only 1, not 2, but 3 game 3s. And as it pertains to the Blue Jays, this was always best case scenario. And I saw a lot of you guys in the comment section disagreeing with me about whether or not it should be the Red Sox or Yankees that the Jays should want to play. I'm sticking with, I would prefer the Jays to play the Red Sox. If you're on the side where you'd rather than play the Yankees because of their bad defense and the Jays have had their number this year, credit to you. It makes perfect sense. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. But what we all can agree on is going to game 3 is ideal because each team had to use an extra starter. You have to use more bullpen just naturally. And they only get 1 day off in between the wild card and the ALDS. So very good news overall here for the Jays, which I'm pretty excited about. Now, again, Cam Schlittler's on the mound today for the Yankees. I'm hoping the Red Sox win, but I don't really care either way. I'm hoping it goes to extras. I'm hoping they have to use a lot of their bullpen arms, which they have, because both games have been close. And that's another thing that not a lot of people are talking about here. Both games between the Red Sox and Yankees have been close, which means their bullpen's going to get more and more tired, and only 1 day off in between. It's all good stuff. And it's fun baseball to sit back and watch. Speaking of baseball, the Jays played an inter-squad game yesterday, and you can see here some takeaways. It was a pretty chill game, so take it all with a grain of salt. Vlad had his opposite field line drive swing locked in. That's his best form, hit 2 doubles. Major League Ops assistant Gosuko Kato still has a smooth glove, clean pick at second base. Shout out to him a few years ago when he made camp out of spring training. Ultimately played 11 games, I believe it was. But folks, it's going to be crazy. Trey Savage will, of course, be a part of the Blue Jays pitching plans in the ALDS. That's going to be exciting to look forward to. This team has a lot of things that they are obviously working on behind the scenes, and we're going to keep you up to date every step of the way. But one thing is for certain: the Jays have to get off to a good start against this team. And also, a quick note before I wrap up: a tweet from Jeff Passan last night came out. Thursday marks the second time in baseball history there will be 3 winner-takes-all playoff games in one day: Tigers, Guardians, Padres, Cubs, Red Sox, Yankees. So we haven't seen it before. Well, we've seen it one other time, but really we haven't seen this, of course, particular set of teams play in a 3 game 3s. So for those curious, starts at 3 p.m., 5 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern, respectively. Hopefully the Red Sox can take care of business in my mind, but hopefully they go to extra innings and use all their pitchers. You guys' support has been unbelievable. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on this. We are now just 1 day one more off day after today until the big game, which will be on, depending, again, the time is still to be determined. If it's the Yankees, it's 4:08 p.m. on Saturday. And if it's the Red Sox, it's 1:08 p.m. Eastern Saturday. Thank you guys for watching. You guys are beasts. Cheers.